Good morning, my dear friends. I hope you all are doing great. Dear friends, today we'll be looking into the ionization or dissociation of strong acids and strong bases. Have a look. Let us take on here a strong acid and strong base. You should know that strong acid and strong base, they are called as strong electrolytes. You do remember that substances were classified as electrolytes and non-electrolytes, okay, by Michael Faraday, okay. So what are the electrolytes? Electrolytes are those substances which on dissociation in aqueous medium give ions, and those ions are responsible for the conduction of electricity, my dear friends. So strong acids and strong bases, okay. So if you have strong acids and strong bases, they are our strong electrolytes. So what they will do? They dissociate or they ionize, okay, or you can say dissociate completely into ions in aqueous medium. So if you put them into aqueous medium, they will dissociate completely into ions. When they dissociate completely into the ions, my dear friends, their alpha factor means their degree of dissociation or degree of ionization is represented by alpha, and that alpha will be 100%, my dear friends, and that 100% can be taken as 1. So if you take strong acids and strong bases, they are called as strong electrolytes, okay. They will break completely into ions in aqueous medium and will conduct electricity, and hence conduct electricity to a larger extent. To a large extent. That means our strong acids and strong bases are strong electrolytes. They will break completely in aqueous medium into ions, and these ions will conduct the electricity to a greater extent. And finally, what is the degree of dissociation? If they are dissociating completely, then the degree of ionization or dissociation represented by alpha is 100%, that is 1, my dear friends. So this is about strong acids and strong bases. Now after this we will take on the examples of strong acids and strong bases and give you some more points. So first of all, let us talk about now strong acid. Let us take strong acids now, my dear friends, here. And we know that their degree of ionization is 100%, correct? And they conduct electricity to a greater extent. These things we are knowing. Let us suppose I will take strong acid as HClO4. That is called as perchloric acid. This is our perchloric acid. Perchloric acid. Correct? This is a strong acid. Then you can take H2SO4, sulfuric acid, strong acid. Then you can take HNO3, nitric acid, a strong acid. Then you can take HI, hydrogen iodide, a strong acid. So there are so many strong acids. Let us write down few only. These are the strong acids. And if you understand that particular, if you have understood the definition, previous definition of acids and bases, I told you in the Bronsted-Lowry concept of acids and bases, acid is a proton donor, H plus donor. So if these guys will donate the proton, let us suppose they will lose the proton, H plus. So acids are basically the proton donors. So they have to donate the proton, H plus is proton, so minus H plus means they are donating the proton. If this guy will donate the proton, it will make ClO4 minus. This is acid. Which acid is this, man? Let us suppose this is a Bronsted-Lowry acid. So this is our Bronsted-Lowry acid. Bronsted-Lowry acid is that acid which can donate the proton. So it is donating the proton, so it becomes Bronsted-Lowry acid. And once it donates the proton, it will become a base. It will become a base, and that base is called as conjugate base, my dear friends. So this thing is our conjugate base, ClO4 minus. So ClO4 minus is a conjugate base of perchloric acid. So we will write down ClO4 minus is a conjugate base of HClO4, that is perchloric acid, conjugate base of perchloric acid. And remember also one more important point here, my dear friends. Acid is a very strong, this perchloric acid is a strong acid. So this is our strong acid. Correct? HClO4 is a strong acid. Okay. ClO4 minus is a conjugate base of HClO4, that is strong acid. Remember always one thing, strong acids will give weak conjugate bases. Strong acids will give weak conjugate bases. Who is your strong acid? HClO4, that is perchloric acid. So perchloric acid will give a weak conjugate base. And who is the conjugate base? ClO4 minus 1. So I will write down strong acid gives weak conjugate base. So my dear friends, we have here strong acids. We have here strong acids. So I will call these all bases which I am going to draw here. These all bases will be weak. So we will be having weak conjugate bases. So remember this point. Strong acid gives weak conjugate base. Okay? So now look here. This is also a strong acid. It will also give me a weak conjugate base. So minus H plus. So it will become HSO4 minus 1. This HSO4 minus 1 is a weak conjugate base. Yes? Let's go further. HNO3. It will become NO3. Sorry. Here I will put actually, I'll make it to lose the proton, H plus, and it will become NO3 minus 1. Yes? Now it will become here minus H plus, proton donor, so it will become I minus. So my dear friends, now at the end of the day, you will have here ClO4 minus, HSO4 minus, NO3 minus, and I minus etc. are the weak conjugate bases of strong acids like HClO4, H2SO4, HNO3, HI, etc. So remember this point, that a strong acid will always give you a weak conjugate base. This is very much important for the competitive examination point of view. Please make note of this. Dear friends, from the strong Bronsted-Lowry acids, you got certain bases. And what are those bases? You got ClO4 minus, HSO4 minus, NO3 minus, you got I minus, etc. Okay? Remember, these are weaker bases than water. So that means water is a stronger base as compared to these substances. Please remember this thing. So ClO4 minus, HSO4 minus, NO3 minus and I minus. Okay. What are these? These are our weak conjugate bases. We know that these are our weak conjugate bases. And these weak conjugate bases, these are weaker bases than water. That means water is a stronger base in comparison to them. Please remember that, it's very much important. So let us come here. Let us talk about now. If we talk about, let us suppose, strong bases now. Strong bases. Okay. In strong bases, we will take example of lithium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, cesium hydroxide, barium hydroxide. So these are the strong bases. And which strong bases these are? These are our algenous bases. And what will be the alpha factor here? I have already discussed it for strong acids and strong bases. Alpha factor is degree of dissociation is 100%, that is equal to 1. So these are our algenous bases. Why algenous bases? Because they can give OH minus ion in aqueous medium. Okay? They can give OH minus hydroxide ion in aqueous medium. So if you look at them, make them as aqueous, 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 aqueous and aqueous. So my dear friends, you will be getting here lithium plus aqueous, OH minus. So OH minus aqueous. So I am getting OH minus ion. So it is a algenous base. So it's an algenous base. So same thing, it will also give OH minus, OH minus, OH minus, and it will give 2 OH minus. So all will give OH minus ions in the aqueous medium. So they are algenous bases. But when we talk of HClO4, yes, you can call them as, now you will be thinking that in previous time I told HClO4 minus, sorry, HClO4. If I have HClO4 minus, that is perchloric acid. This perchloric acid, okay, if it gives H plus ion in aqueous medium. So when it gives H plus ion in aqueous medium, so it is algenous acid. Please make note of this. And this HClO4, it can also donate proton. Proton means H plus. So it can give both the things. It can give H plus ion in aqueous medium, or it can donate H plus to a base. So it can also donate proton to a base. So when it can donate a proton, this H plus, if it donates this H plus to a base, then it will become Bronsted-Lowry acid. So my dear friends, any acid if you take, it can be your algenous acid or it can be your Bronsted-Lowry acid. I hope you are understanding my point. Acid if you take on, it can be your Bronsted-Lowry acid or it can be your algenous acid. Let us take another example in place of this. In place of this we can take HCl, hydrochloric acid. This hydrochloric acid can give H plus in aqueous medium, so it is an algenous acid. It can also donate H plus to a base. Which base it can donate H plus? You have seen the reaction. HCl can donate H plus to ammonia. HCl can donate H plus to water also. When it donates H plus to ammonia, it gives me what the one? Cl minus plus NH4 plus. And here it can donate H plus to water. And you will get here Cl minus and H3O plus. So here HCl is a proton donor. Here also it's a proton donor. So when HCl is a proton donor, it donates proton to a base. This is a base here. This is also a base here. And here this HCl is acting as an acid. So proton donor, it will be called as Bronsted-Lowry acid. So remember, if any acid is dissolving in the water and dissociates into H plus and gives H plus, then it's an algenous acid. If it is capable of giving H plus to a base, like HCl is giving H plus to the NH3, NH3 becomes NH4. HCl gives H plus to water, donates proton, and water becomes H3O plus, hydronium ion. That means if any acid is donating or capable of donating proton, then it's a Bronsted-Lowry acid. But if any acid is accepting the lone pair, if any acid accepts lone pair, then it becomes Lewis acid. Very simple terminology. Classical theory, acid is sour in taste. Classical theory. Algenous theory, acid should give H plus ion in aqueous medium. Bronsted-Lowry theory, acid should be a proton donor. It should donate H plus ion to a base. Yes, that is Bronsted-Lowry acid. And Lewis acid means a substance which can accept lone pair. That's all. All acid-base theories are coming into that. Please make note of this. Dear students, now let us understand ionization of weak acids and weak bases. My dear friends, if we have weak acids and weak bases, then remember they are called as weak electrolytes. And when they are weak electrolytes, I have told you last time, weak electrolytes, they dissociate partially into ions in aqueous solution, and hence conduct electricity to a small extent. So they dissociate very minutely in the aqueous medium and will give less number of ions, and obviously the conduction will be very less, electrical conduction will be very less. So finally, the degree of ionization of these substances, these weak acids and weak bases, it will be represented by alpha only, and obviously it will not be 100. I told you in case of like acetic acid, I gave you one example, acetic acid, weak acid. The alpha, the degree of dissociation will be always less than 5%. So here I can't mention like less than 5%, less than 10%, less than 20%. So directly the degree of dissociation is not 100% that we know. When it's not 100%, that means it's less than 100. When it's less than 100, that means it's less than 1. So here alpha factor. So degree of dissociation is not 100%. Yes? It is basically degree of dissociation is less than 100%. So less than 100% means what? Less than 1. So alpha is actually here less than 1. Less than 1. Because 100% means 100 upon 100, that is 1. So degree of ionization is here less than 1. But for the strong electrolytes, yes, like strong acids and strong bases, alpha factor is equal to 1. Yes, that is 100%, but here it's not 100%. They dissociate very partially in the aqueous medium. So let's take examples of strong acids and, weak acids and weak bases. So let us take on a weak acid first. Okay. So I will take on, have a look. HF is a weak acid. Hydrofluoric acid is a weak acid. Remember that. Yes. And even benzoic acid is also a weak acid. Benzoic acid. COOH. Benzoic acid is also a weak acid. And even acetic acid, CH3. COOH, acetic acid is also a weak acid. So there are so many. Okay, let's take on, first one is hydrofluoric acid is a weak acid. This one is benzoic acid. Benzoic acid is also a weak acid. And then you have acetic acid. Acetic acid. This is also a weak acid. So my dear friends, these weak acids, okay, their degree of dissociation is not 100%. Yes, so alpha factor will be always, less than 100, or we can say less than 1. Okay. Now my dear friends, these are our weak acids. And remember always, the weak acids will establish the equilibrium. Strong acids will dissociate completely. Yes, and there is no possibility of equilibrium. But in case of weak electrolytes, equilibrium is possible, my dear friends. Try to understand. So the equilibrium will be like this. Equilibrium will be established like this. You will be having H plus aqueous and F minus aqueous here. And this is aqueous only. And for benzoic acid, let's call it as aqueous here. And we can mention it as COO minus, let's call it as aqueous here, plus H plus aqueous. Now here we can have CH3 COO minus aqueous plus H plus aqueous. So dear friends, the weak acids will always try to establish the equilibrium. At the saturation point, equilibrium will be established. But in strong acids, it's not possible at all. Or strong bases, equilibrium is not possible. Equilibrium is only possible in weak acids and weak bases because they do not dissociate completely. When they do not dissociate completely, they reach to the saturation point. At saturation point, yes, the rate of forward process becomes equal to rate of backward process. Please remember this. Let us take an example of now weak bases. Okay. So in weak bases you can take on NH3. NH3 is a weak base. Okay. Amine or ammonia, you can say ammonia is a weak base. Okay. What else is a weak base? Have a look. This is called as aniline. Aniline is also a weak base. Aniline or aniline, you can say it's also a weak base. And even you can take an example of, this is called as pyridine or pyridine, you can say. These are all weak bases, my dear friends. So these are your weak acids and these are your weak bases, my dear friends. So what I am going to tell you is that if they interact with the water, have a look. If this interacts with the water, what is the possibility? Let me show you one reaction here. If it interacts with the water, so what will happen? The NH3 will accept H plus from water. Okay, and NH3 will change into NH4 plus and water will become OH minus. That means here the water is acting as an acid and NH3 is acting as a base. So equilibrium will be established here also because these are the weak bases, my dear friends. Please remember that point. Make note of this. Dear friends, the weak acids, please remember this thing. Weak acids can give strong conjugate bases. In previous time I told you that strong acids can give weak conjugate bases. So opposite is here, weak acids can give strong conjugate bases. So let's have a look. If I have a weak acid with me, let us suppose HF is a weak acid with me, hydrofluoric acid. It's a weak acid. So this weak acid will lose one proton. Okay, so it is a proton donor because it's an acid. Okay, so it will become here F minus, and this F minus will be a strong conjugate base. Do you remember one thing which I told you just a meanwhile ago, that I told you HClO4 is a strong acid and it can lose H plus, so it is a proton donor. Proton donor. And after donating H plus, it will become ClO4 minus. And this is a weak conjugate base. Weak conjugate base. That means strong acid gives weak conjugate base. But here the weak acid gives strong conjugate base. So HF is a weak acid and F minus is a strong conjugate base. Now look here, after that, if you have here nitrous acid, that's a weak acid. Nitrous acid. And if you look here, the strong acid is here nitric acid. So this is strong acid and this is the weak conjugate base. But this is a weak acid here, HNO2, that is nitrous acid. That is nitric acid. This is nitric acid and this is nitrous acid. So nitrous acid will give H plus and NO2 minus, and this NO2 minus will be a strong conjugate base, my dear friends. So even if you take acetic acid also, CH3COOH, if you take acetic acid, and if it gives H plus, then you will be having here CH3COO minus. So this will be the strong conjugate base which is formed from weak acids. So in simple terminology, strong acids will always give us weak conjugate bases and the weak acids will give us the strong conjugate bases. Yes or no? That's exactly what we have to learn. Please make note of this. Dear friends, now let us understand the ionization constant of water and ionic product of water. So let's have a look. Let's take on the pure water at 25 degrees Celsius or 298 Kelvin temperature. So I am taking pure water, my dear friends. So what I am going to do, I will make this pure water to undergo self-ionization. So let us go for the self-ionization or auto-ionization of pure water at 25 degrees Celsius. Have a look. Let us take on water. If this water undergoes self-ionization, if it breaks by itself, and I told you last time that the self-ionization of water is very less, very less, almost negligible. So what we are going to do, have a look. Yes. We'll get H plus aqueous and OH minus aqueous. And these ions will be very small in number. And there will be the establishment of equilibrium. Equilibrium will be established here in a closed system if it is happening. Now look here, my dear friends. This reaction can be also represented like this. Have a look. You can represent this reaction like this also. If I take H2O, my dear friends, H2O I will take here, liquid. You know that in aqueous medium we have millions and millions of water molecules, correct? So let me take two water molecules to show you what exactly is happening. So I can represent this reaction. The first reaction can be represented like this, okay? So now if you talk about, let's take on two water molecules, okay? Let us call the first water molecule as Bronsted-Lowry acid. Let's call the second one as Bronsted-Lowry base. And you know, my dear friends, what is the role of Bronsted-Lowry acid? It's a proton donor. So remember, this guy is our proton donor. So it is proton donor. And then Bronsted-Lowry base, it will be a proton acceptor, my dear friends. So what is happening in the aqueous medium? One water molecule is donating the proton. That is, this water molecule will donate a proton here. So I will write down minus H plus, my dear friends. So this guy is donating proton. Minus H plus means this guy is losing the proton. That is, it is donating the proton. When H2O donates the H plus, what remains here? OH minus. H2O is donating H plus. So what remains here? OH minus. So OH minus will remain here. And that is aqueous. Now when this H plus will come here, this guy will accept, because it's a proton acceptor, it will accept the H plus. H2O and H plus will become H3O plus. H3O plus. Correct? Now look here, my dear friends. This is our, in reverse reaction, a reversible reaction, this is our conjugate acid. And this is my conjugate base. Please try to understand this. Now in reverse reaction, this guy can become a proton donor. So it can donate H plus in reverse reaction. Okay? So this will become my conjugate acid and this will become my conjugate base. Now, in order to understand the ionization constant can be also called as dissociation constant of water. In order to understand it, you can take either first reaction or the second reaction. Yes? Now you will be thinking, in first reaction we have OH. Second reaction also we have OH. But in first we have H plus. But in second we have H3O plus. Do you remember one thing? In previous class I told you something. Do you remember? This H plus aqueous is equal to H3O plus. Because this reaction and this reaction both are same only. Yes? Here we have H plus, here we have H3O plus. So H plus is equal to this. in previous class I have told you that if you have H plus aqueous, okay, H plus in water, it's equal to H3O plus aqueous, because you are adding water to this, and it's equal to H5O2 plus aqueous, and it's equal to H7O3 plus aqueous, and it's equal to H9O4 plus aqueous. So my dear friends, this H plus can be replaced by H3O plus. You should remember that important point. So while writing the ionization constant of water or writing the ionic product of water, I can replace H plus by H3O plus also. I can replace H plus by H5O2 plus also, because all are present in water only. Yes or no, my dear friends? So let us go for the first term, that is called as ionization constant of water, my dear friends. So let us see here. So make note of this. Okay. Let us continue our topic. In our topic, my dear friends, let us take on first of all ionization constant of water. Ionization constant of water. Let us represent the ionization constant of water by a symbol K. Okay, or you can represent it by Kc also. Equilibrium constant, my dear friends. So how do you calculate it? Let us take this reaction, the first one. You have two reactions. Let me choose the first one. Tell me, these are my products. Okay, what is K equal to? You know that equilibrium constant K? Equilibrium constant Kc, or you can say K, that is equal to what? Molar concentration of products divided by molar concentration of reactants, raised to the power equal to their stoichiometric coefficients. Correct? So obviously, my dear friends, if I want to find out the ionization constant of water, it's also called as dissociation constant of water. Ionization is also called as dissociation. It will be equal to the molar concentration of products raised to the power equal to their stoichiometric coefficient divided by molar concentration of reactants raised to the power equal to their stoichiometric. Let's write down Sc and here Sc dash. Yes. So now, my dear friends, take the reaction first. In first reaction, you will have K. K stands for here ionization constant of water. You can write down Kc also. It's equal to molar concentration of product. These are my products and this is my reactant, let us suppose. So what is happening, my dear friends? Let us write down the products here first. What is your product? H plus into OH minus. Correct? And we know that this guy is aqueous. This guy is also aqueous. So these are my products. And what is basically, how many times it is? One time and one time. What is the stoichiometry now here? Stoichiometry is 1 and 1. Divided by the molar concentration of reactants. Who is your reactant, my dear friends? Water is your reactant here. So H2O. And remember, it's liquid. And one more important factor I want to tell you, my dear friends. Please remember that. This K is here our ionization constant of water. You can also call it as equilibrium constant, because there is an equilibrium between the ions, okay, and the undissociated water. There will be an equilibrium, correct? So now, my dear friends, if you remember last time, one expression I gave you. If you remember that the molar concentration of solids, yes? So for solids, molar concentration of solids or molar concentration of liquids is constant and is taken as unity. Unity means 1. This factor I have already done last time, if you remember. Molar concentration of solids, okay, and liquids is constant, and that's equal to 1. I have already done in one of the topics this particular factor. And the molar concentration of aqueous and the gaseous, yes, is not taken as constant. Only solids and liquids is taken as constant. So let me write it down here so that later we can mention it. So remember, let's call it as equation number 2. Let us suppose. What happens here? Please try to remember this point now. That is the molar concentration. Remember, molar concentration of pure solids and pure liquids. Solids and liquids. is taken as constant. So that means the molar concentration of solid, yes, will be, or molar concentration of liquid will be equal to constant, or will be equal to 1. So 1 is the constant term here. So if you know this particular thing, then I can put here in place of water liquid. So my water liquid will become constant. But remember, aqueous state and gaseous state are not constant. Aqueous state and the gaseous state, they are not taken as constant. Only solid and liquid are taken as constant, which I have discussed last time. So this term is basically water in liquid state. So it will be constant. But these H plus, aqueous and OH minus will not be constant, correct? So this will be the constant term here. So when this is a constant term, so what I am going to do, have a look here now. I will further simplify it. So let's have a look. So my dear friends, now have a look. K is basically ionization constant we have. Let us transfer this term here. Let's transfer this term here. So I will be having K into H2O liquid. H2O liquid, it's equal to H plus aqueous into OH minus aqueous. Just now I have written here molar concentration of solids and liquids is taken as constant, that is 1. So now this is basically the molar concentration. This is the molar concentration of liquid. So it will be taken as constant, and that will be taken as 1. And obviously this is also a constant. This is our ionization constant of water. This is ionization constant of water. Yes? So now what happens? You might have heard about one factor, that constant multiplied by constant is also a constant. So let us call it as equation number 3 here. Okay? So constant multiplied by constant. So first of all we have K into water. This is constant, ionization constant, and water is liquid, so it is also constant. So now K into H2O liquid, both are constant, my dear friends. So they are equal to Kw, my dear friends. So constant multiplied by constant is equal to constant, and this constant is called as ionic product of water. Ionic product of water. So my dear friends, the ionization constant of water multiplied by the water liquid, which is also constant. So constant into constant will be a constant called as Kw, and that is ionic product of water. So now my dear friends, in equation number 3, I can replace K into water, molar concentration of water, by Kw. So let us see that. Let us put the value of KH2O liquid, K into H2O liquid in equation 3 we get. And we know that what is the value of this. This is constant into constant, that is equal to Kw. So we will have here Kw is equal to H plus aqueous into OH minus aqueous. So this is the ionic product of water. So ionic product of water is Kw is equal to product of the molar concentration of H plus and OH minus ion. Yes? So let us call it as equation number 4, and this Kw is nothing but it's the ionic product of water. Product of water. And the ionic product of water is H plus into OH minus. Correct? This H plus can be also represented like this. So I will have here Kw is equal to, in place of H plus I can write down H3O plus, I can write down H5O2 plus, I can write down H7O3 plus, or I can write down H9O4 plus. So let me write down H3O plus. So in place of this I can also mention H3O plus aqueous into OH minus aqueous. So my dear friends, this is the ionic product of the water. Please make note of this. Dear friends, Kw is the ionic product of water. It is temperature dependent. So its value depends upon temperature. So let us go further, my dear friends, have a look. Experimentally, at 25 degrees Celsius or 298 Kelvin temperature, okay, molar concentration of H plus, remember this is the molar concentration of H plus, okay, is found to be 1 into 10 raised power minus 7 m. M stands for here molar concentration, okay. So experimentally at 25 degrees Celsius, H plus concentration is found to be 1 into 10 raised power minus 7 m for pure water. So this is for the pure water. Okay. So what I am going to do, have a look here. You know that water breaks into equal number of H plus and OH minus ions. So if H plus ion is 10 raised power minus 7 m, then OH minus will be also 10 raised power minus 7 m. So have a look here. As water breaks into, or we can say ionizes. In place of breaks you can write down ionize also. As water ionizes into equal number of H plus and OH minus ions. So my dear friends, as water ionizes into equal number of H plus and OH minus ions, so H plus, molar concentration of H plus will be equal to molar concentration of OH minus. So equal number of H plus and OH minus will be there in water. And experimentally we know that our H plus concentration is 10 raised power minus 7. And we know that water breaks equally into H plus and OH minus. It gives equal number of H plus and OH minus. So H plus we know that is 10 raised power minus 7. Then OH minus will be also 10 raised power minus 7. So both will be equal to 10 raised power minus 7 m. Now if I use that equation of ionic product of water. So ionic product of water we have Kw is equal to H plus into OH minus, my dear friends. And we know that H plus is equal to OH minus and both are 10 raised power minus 7. That is, this is also 10 raised power minus 7 and this will be also 10 raised power minus 7. So let us write down here H plus 10 raised power minus 7. Here also OH minus is also 10 raised power minus 7. So this will be 10 raised power minus 7 m and this is also 10 raised power minus 7 m. M represents basically molar concentration. But already the brackets are representing the molar concentration, so I will not mention here. Okay? So I will write down here now. It will become 10 raised power minus 14, my dear friends. And this is molar concentration here, M, and this is also M. So I can write down here it as M into M is what? M square. So my dear friends, this M can be also represented as mole per liter. This M can be represented as mole per liter. Try to understand. This M can be represented as N by P, number of moles per unit value. It can be represented as mole per liter. So molar concentration M can be represented as N by V. N by V can be represented as mole per liter. So unit is mole per liter, but we have a square here. So it will be 10 raised power minus 14 mole per liter whole square. I hope, my dear friends, you have understood this particular expression. So the Kw value is equal to 10 raised power minus 14 mole upon liter whole square. So it will become mole square, yes, per liter square. So mole square per liter square it will become. So it will become like this. 10 raised power minus 14 mole square per liter square. So this is about Kw, my dear friends. Please make note of this. Dear friends, if H plus concentration is equal to OH minus concentration, okay, then that solution will be considered to be neutral. So we have a neutral solution. If H plus is greater than OH minus, that means acid concentration is more than basic concentration, then understand it will represent acidic solution. If now H plus is less than OH minus will represent the base, so basic nature is more, so this solution will be the basic solution, my dear friends. So when H plus is equal to OH minus, it's a neutral solution. And when H plus is greater than OH minus, it is an acidic solution. When OH minus is greater than H plus, it is a basic solution. And remember, my dear friends, if you have, let us suppose the density of pure water, if it is 1000 grams per liter, okay, and we know that density is equal to mass upon value. Okay, so what is the mass here? 1000 grams is the mass upon per liter, so that is 1 liter. So I got the mass of water, that is 1000 grams. Okay, so 1000 grams of water, okay, is present in 1 liter, or we can say that 1 liter of water is equal to 1000 grams. Okay, so what is basically here? If I want to calculate the number of moles of water, in 1 liter, okay, so number of moles of water in 1 liter of water, that will be equal to mass of 1 liter divided by molar mass. Mass of 1 liter of water divided by molar mass. What is the mass of 1 liter of water? 1000. And what is the molar mass of water? Everybody knows that molar mass of water is 18. H2O, that is 2 plus 16. How much is that? 18. So molar mass of the water is 18. So this will come out to be 55.5. So that means in 1 liter of water, you will have 55.5 moles. So remember, my dear friends, number of moles of water in 1 liter of water is basically 55.5, okay, moles. And remember, when the density of water is 1000 grams per liter, if you change this density, let us suppose, then this will also change. So remember, 1 liter of water will contain 55.5 moles of water. Please remember this, and this was all for today. Have a great time. Yo-yo.